Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet?
I love people as I meet them one by one. People are just wonderful as individuals. You see the whole...
My great aspiration, my greatest ambition is to be so good. Now, in that way, I'm tiresome, as I suppose, to live with, because I want to be a fantastic human being.
I am the greatest. We're not disputing that, Cassius, but how does Sonny Liston feel about it? He can't feel but one way, and let's take everything I say and like it. Because February the 25th, I'm going to take back my job. I'm the champ. He's no champ. He's a tramp.
When you see men fall, don't laugh. Learn. Learn. Because you're on your way up. And the things that tempt people to fall, you and I are not free from that temptation.
Yo, 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 yo. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? Peace and blessings, man. Glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. So glad to be back. Good to see our familiar faces. Robin, I see you repost. Appreciate you. My writers, my poets, everybody that hung out with me earlier today, hung out with me last night, man. Appreciate y'all. I hope your Monday started out well. I hope it was productive. I hope it was peaceful. I hope it was everything that you needed it to be. So much to be grateful for. So much to be grateful for. And this is going to be one of those situations where it's about to be actually a little more sensitive, the topic. I got Rob in the building. I see you, bro. Sydney in the building. I never heard of this before. I came across it on Threads, and I thought we needed to bring some light to it. Everybody don't see these things. That's one of the main reasons why I like to cover it, you know. And if you got kids, if you got nieces and nephews, you're going to want to pay attention to this particular clip yourself. So let me do this. I'm going to bring Rob up. When Cindy gets on cam, I'll bring her up. I'm going to bring the clip up. And then we're going to get into it. Do me a solid. Like, share, subscribe, let the people know that we're on. This is a real life situation that we are about to get into. Rob, what's going on, sir?
What's up, Brody?
What's the word?
Happy Monday.
Right on. How everybody holding up?
Oh man, Best it's gonna be, man. Today was the first day of school, so you know.
What up? What up? What up?
Cool.
Right. First day. It was all right. It's good now. Tell you that much.
Good now that's over.
How y'all doing?
Pretty good. I had a seizure last week, so I'm still coming down. I'm still recovering from that. So my speech is weird today. That's why.
Oh, how bad was it?
I don't remember most of it. I ended up losing memories from Monday all the way through Friday. So I don't really remember much of what happened, but basically my husband saw me have 3 back-to-back seizures. So he had to take me in, and again, I don't remember anything, but they did find that I have an epileptic signature. So it's not caused by like anything structural or anything. I was definitely born with this, but fun stuff.
Oh, wow. You rested?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'm glad you better. Make sure you take care of yourself. You know, I already done told you already. Like this right here, you don't need to worry about this. If you gotta, do what you gotta do. We understand completely. You dig? So, my thoughts and prayers with you. My thoughts and prayers with everybody, with Rob, and that's still on my mind too. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked. But
On a positive note, you almighty fresh over there, my guy.
I had to shout out to Timu, man. Shout out to Timu. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be sleeping on Timu, man. But
What's that Pink Panther?
All Pink Panther.
Slid on it.
You know.
The icy chain. Okay. Drippy over there. Very drippy.
Very. I ain't had to spend $150,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say I'm doing okay. But now, Instagram. 2 weeks ago, I'm scrolling. I come across this clip, and it's a older, translucent gentleman having a conversation with somebody about his pedophilia urges, if that's the word for it. I'd never heard of M.A.P before. That's why I titled it specifically that. But I'm gonna bring it up on the screen. I'm gonna run it, and then we can just go from there. But the way he's talking is like he was born with this, and maybe I'm hearing this wrong, but
now that I see what that means, I have seen something about this before. Interesting conversation.
Yeah. Let me bring this up. All right. I'm gonna let it run all the way through, and then we can just start whoever first. It don't make a difference.
Part infinity.
Have you fallen in love with a child before?
I have. I would rather die a virgin than harm a child.
When did you figure out that you were attracted to kids?
I was in 7th grade. A neighbor came to visit my grandfather with a 7-year-old daughter, and I looked up at her and I just was mesmerized by her beauty. And that's kind of when I first started to realize, wait a minute, my attractions go way lower than what I thought they did. I went through a couple of years of denial and kind of back and forth on it, but eventually probably about the age of 16, I basically started to accept it. People go, oh, you can't, you have a hard time controlling yourself. You're going to, you're destined to offend. I don't think that's true for most M.A.P.
M.A.P?
M.A.P, minor attractive person. Non-offending maps exist. We are out there. I don't believe in conversion therapy. Best they can do is help us to cope and find ways to live with it without causing harm. Destigmatizing itself will help maps to come out of the shadows.
Stay in the fucking shadows. Stay your ass in the shadows because it's for your best interest. Listen, I'm a pretty open person, but I'll never be open with this. I will never call you a map.
That's about the size of it right there. I never heard of it before. I don't know what the hell he's talking about.
His cut-in had me cracking up. Don't come out of the shadows.
I guess I get the uncomfortable question out the way first. Then we just like, he said he was introduced to a child and he knew right then and there that it was something more than just a figment of his imagination, and he was actually attracted to kids. What do you say to something like that? A grown man who pretty much is telling you openly, hey, I like kids, but I won't do nothing to them because I have it under control.
Do we care about the relationship with said person? That will definitely have an impact how well I know that person. If I was approached by some stranger on the street, or like I had a friend introduce me to an acquaintance or something like that, and they told me that, I would definitely respond a lot differently. I would not be very open to having a conversation with a stranger that I don't know about that, especially if it's them heavily defending their interests. But I would try and respect if like I had a friend or somebody that I was close to came out to me about something like that, I would try to be understanding, but I don't know. I'd really struggle with it. Just, I can understand having an attraction that you don't really want to have. But I just don't understand how people could defend it. That would be my line, is once they start like, oh, it's not that bad, or oh, it's not, it's innocent, or whatever. Like if they try to start defending themselves, I don't know, I'd probably not be able to continue with the conversation. It would be really hard for me to get past that.
Man, now I will say this. I had a conversation with my brother, shout out Reg, my big brother, real brother. He said one day that he was told when we was talking about this subject that there are people who love the breath of a child. They said there's nothing that feels better than a child breathing on them. I ain't with it. We had this conversation a couple months ago about people who need the AI to talk to the computers and all that, and that's what I was talking about. When some people, they need them robots, they need them computers, they need if they can't get with reality and function, properly, and they need those outlets. Not with children though, definitely not in that way. But if they need to talk to a robot all day because they can't function outside, and that guy looked like one of them, I don't know what's going on right now. But at the same time, too, we know that it appears that some of the laws support those people. This has been happening since before the Bible. Those guys get off a lot. So for him to just come out, that's just more wild stuff that I see with as a distraction. But what my question would be, what happened when there's somebody want your child?
I'm gonna be honest. I couldn't be friends with somebody like that. I wouldn't even. That's like surrounding yourself with a pathological liar. I don't care if you are telling me the truth. I appreciate you telling me the truth, actually.
Or like willingly being friends with people that openly talk about SA, like essaying people. Because that's basically what it is. If you follow that's SA. If you're going after young people, slippery slope.
I mean, I don't mean to cut you off. Like you know that you gotta respect, but all that kids, man. See, I'm gonna tell you what it is for me. I'm from the hood. I work with kids every day, so I remember being 10, 11 years old, making sure the kids did their homework, making sure the kids had enough to eat, making sure all our friends, little brothers and sisters were straight. Like that's all we did because we know that there was times when we was hungry. There was times, so we made sure the kids were straight. Like the kids was off limits, man, and anything like that, like man, I don't care if you admit you keep that to yourself, B. Straight up, certain things it's certain limits. But see what happens again. What happens is you looking at the news, you watching them people get off. So here you go, you want to get some clicks, whatever, and now all of a sudden that's what you. Because at the end of the day, I don't care who you are. Like you now, okay. So now that's how you feel. You can't come to no cookout. You ain't coming to no birthday parties. Matter of fact, where you live, you know what I'm saying? Because check this out, you banned. Be like, you stay in your four quarters, man. You know what I'm saying? And, even with them guys, the guy that killed Trayvon Martin, they don't. I wouldn't give him a free pass. I wouldn't get him one neither. I can't even compare that because that's both. But children, nah.
I don't know a single person that I have grown up with that's ever been attracted to a child. I don't even know how you develop that habit. Where does that come from? It has to be demonic.
I had an ex that got arrested for that. We were together when I was 19, 19, and probably like 2 to 3 years after we broke up, I found a news article about him and the fact that he'd gotten arrested for photos and videos on his computer of underage people. So I've technically met somebody, but I don't associate with them. And I stopped associating with them before I knew that they were doing that. So I didn't actually, I don't know what his internal thoughts were around that, but I do have some exposure to individuals that have made questionable choices like that. Also, I thought I'd throw in, I've heard before that there are communities that are specifically for MAPs. Like they're communities that are for people that can't live near school, you can't live near like children. And so they have like these mobile home slash like house apartment type communities for people that have done things and people that are in that lifestyle of wanting to do those things. So there's definitely community building around this type of existence, but at least from what I've seen, there's not very much public support of this yet, which I hope continues. But yeah, the fact that there are specific communities that are designated for people that are like this is wild to me. And the other thing too, I can't stand is the fact that they lump them in with the LGBT community as if people who are attracted to the same sex is the same thing as being attracted to children. I do not see it, and I absolutely cannot stand that they try and add it in to the LGBT terminology as just another one, just another type of attraction. Like,
well, to be honest with you, they're trying to make everything that's demonic acceptable. That's all it is. So you already pretty much forced us with the LGBTQ community stuff. You're forcing children to use bathrooms with men dressed like women. You're forcing us to clean bathrooms where women can come into men's bathrooms pretending to be this, that. You're already forcing the porn on TV. You're pushing it in cartoons. You're pushing it in music. It's so you're pretty much telling us this is another one that we want you to accept, and I don't want to hear nothing else about it. That's why he's so open. And I have to retract my statement from earlier because I did a reaction actually to this, not this, but something that you said jogged my memory. There is but this is separate. Because what I think you're talking about is like mutant refuge for weirdos. The one that I did was on a camp that was designed specifically for people like him to be able to prey on kids and get away with it. You can fact check me. There's a camp, I can't remember. There's a camp specifically designed to organize these little rendezvous between adults and kids. You wouldn't think it's real, but at this point, should you be surprised at all at what we've got out here? You know, the thing that I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around is a statement that he had made about, oh, I can fantasize about them all I want, but that doesn't mean I'm going to act on it. I guess my question is, can you rehabilitate someone like him? He said no, you can't. Can you rehabilitate a murderer? Can you rehabilitate someone who killed one of your family members? Can you rehabilitate someone who's constantly stealing? Can you change someone who is clinically diagnosed with something?
it is, I feel like it's a case by case basis. The same thing as mental illness or being on the not spectrum, being in the LGBT spectrum. It's going to vary by person, and some people might have different reasons for becoming the way that they were. Like they could have a brain abnormality, they could have a chemical imbalance, they could have like a suffered abuse or something. Like there could be a lot of reasons why somebody might have developed that. And so I don't think it's fair to lump them all into the same category and say across the board they could all be rehabilitated or they all can't be rehabilitated, because I think it really would depend on a person-to-person basis whether or not somebody would be able to be rehabbed or not. Because a huge component of rehabilitation is intention. And if the person is deeply uncomfortable themselves with their attraction and they don't want to feel that way and they feel like it's wrong and whatever, they're going to definitely go at it differently than somebody who is like, what's wrong with that? Like, why can't I be with a 12-year-old? So I think it really is a case-by-case basis. And in some cases, I would suspect that some people can't be rehabilitated. But I have hope that potentially some people could be rehabilitated.
When I got my master's in school counseling, kindergarten through 12th grade, I had about 5 more classes I could have took to become a licensed practical counselor. And I said no, because I don't want to work with adults, because I feel like as adults, we don't change till we want to. And I didn't want to either first of all, be like the people I was counseling and telling them don't do this and do that when I was doing this and that. And then second, I ain't want to sit there and hear all of the excuses, because a lot of times we don't change till we tired. So with them, what he looked to be age-wise, it really ain't no helping him, because I can tell you like this, whichever way you felt when you felt like that, you wasn't gonna put that on camera. You know what I'm saying? This is a whole new era where you could come out and you feel like you're gonna get support. And I'm with you, Deep, to where this always been happening, but now you can hide it in plain sight. We got so many distractions with the White House and this and that, even right now, the FBI took over DC. Like everything is happening, regardless of what, the vote, the lobbyists, the politicians, the Democrats, the Republicans, all of this stuff is happening. So here's another little thing right here you could throw in plain sight, because certain cultures value this, you know what I'm saying, type of behavior.
It also doesn't help that the president himself is an offender.
And said that he liked his homie because his homie liked young girls on paper. Then said, oh, if I did vote, I would have a Democrat. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, there we go.
His other homie likes furniture.
You feel me? Like, I gotta try, like, you know, I work with, you see what I'm saying? So I gotta be like extra, like, my
hey,
but
shit, you say whatever you want. I don't care.
I mean, you know, but you know, I got, you know, we ain't syndicated yet. Then they said, I can do this full time, so I gotta be a little careful. But once you put yourself in my head, you ostracize yourself, you cut yourself off from the whole community. Because even if I was in your family, I'm like, what? You feel me? Like, ain't no sleepovers. Ain't gonna be none of that. You know what I'm saying? You're not coming to the cookout. Like, you know, you. I'll tell you that. We're going on a family cruise. I don't know. You listen, whoever riding with that guy, yeah, y'all stay on that side. People, but come on, man. Nah, man. And I understand, you know what? I do understand people. I could, if I did give him the benefit of the doubt, at least he was honest. But at the same time, nah, bro, you a grown man. Like, you can't, I damn near rather him said he smoked crack. He like Molly. But the kids, nah, that's off limit. You got to go with that. I don't care.
You could tell the truth all you want and still be held responsible and held accountable. Like I'm not gonna. I always say I would rather you tell me the truth and give me the option of whether or not I want to associate myself with you based on what you told me or not. Don't rob me of this choice. And too many people already keep secrets, but y'all act like you're high and mighty and you're perfect and you don't do anything, but we know that's not the truth. But if you would just tell people, look, this is who I am, cool. We'll go ahead and move accordingly. The only reason that people don't want to tell the truth is because they want to continue to stay in what they're in. They want to go unnoticed for it, and they don't want to be held accountable. Him being open about it, that's cool. And I respect it. That does not mean that I still have to attach myself to you in any way. It just all it means is you were honest. Now I'm just going to make sure that I protect myself and everybody that's close to me. The power of Christ compels you. Holy water. Yeah. For real. That's it. You know the scary part, I yield the mic. The scary part is there are more people like him. They just won't say it. And on top of that, you don't know what they look like. But you typically, like, if you're going off of stereotypes, they always say it's like some weird old bald guy or some fat dude that got a weird lineup and his belly button show and all that. It's always that. But you don't have to actually be that type of person. I did a show not too long ago. It was a black nurse. He impregnated a handicapped uh a woman or something like that in a nursing home or hospice thing. They gave him life for that. So they come in all colors, man.
Not to mention, we keep obviously saying men, but equally it could be women. There are 100% women that do the same thing and have the same attraction. And I mean, I won't say it across the board because I don't think that's the case across the board, but just from the stories that I have seen of women, it's interesting because people treat them differently. With men that come out, people are usually like, we don't want any part of, like, get out of our society. We don't want anything to do with you. But I've noticed people can be more lenient towards women, which I find bizarre because, I mean, they're still being predatory. And sometimes just from the stories, the type of, like, the profile of women perpetrators that are doing that, they tend to be more aggressive. Like, if you look at the behavior traits of people that are committing these acts, women tend to be very, very aggressive. And I've heard multiple stories of, like, teachers that were engaged with their students, and the teachers were the ones going after the student, were the ones saying, like, no, you can't break it off. Like, we have to keep doing this, and, like, we'll make this relationship work and whatnot. I'm forgetting the name. there was a famous case from like the 2000s where she ended up marrying the student that she had a relationship with. And I think they ended up having children together and everything. But Letourneau, Mary King Letourneau, and she ended up having children with him. There was I think 15 to 18 year difference or something like that. But he, like, she was the one that pursued him and was just the way it sounded. She was very aggressive with it. And again, I've heard that in multiple other cases. There was another woman that recently got arrested in 2024 because she was found to have been sleeping with a 13-year-old student. And she would go to the kid's house. She would take him out places. She would do stuff in the classroom with the other students present. She would put on a movie and bring him to the back of the classroom, and they would do things to each other in the back of the classroom during school hours. And I always find that super interesting that people always think it's the men being predatory towards children when it's equally both genders. It's definitely not just men.
Someone said this to me a while ago. I don't know if it was here or maybe it was a combination of being on here and seeing it other places confirming it. And it was about taking surveys and how you can easily rig one. You can ask a question that's specifically meant to benefit you with biases, and it doesn't really help figure out or accurately assess what we're trying to unpack. Now, I think with that whole man-woman thing with kids, I think that's one of those situations too, where you hear more about men doing it because that's the whole point, to villainize men, to make them monsters, to make them barbaric and all that. And I made a post, and then I had somebody respond on it, and she loves to go back and forth over shit like that. Because her personal experiences. So she thinks all men damn near for the most part are the source for all evil. And my thing is, to me, it's not like that. I believe women are just as bad. They just don't get documented as much. And I think this is one of them situations. You hear about men specific because that's how it was designed. I think women are just as bad, if not worse, but we don't know that because you're never going to get a accurate number. But that's just my take. You know, I wouldn't expect it, not by a long shot.
Well, you know, there's a stigma. So back in the days, if a male got an older woman, they was looked at as cool. Even for the teachers, if you got a teacher, you was looked at as, cool. They looked at it as, that's like a rites of passage type, to where, you're supposed to feel good about that. Again, a lot of this stuff was normal back in the days. It was way more normal now, to where now they got to try to hide it in plain sight. But it was the same for the girls. This made me think that I got friends, and we kind of more watched it in the hood. But I got friends that said that, and they remember being in high school, and the men in the cars used to come pick up the girls all the time. And they said they remember watching the girls jump in the cars. All they had to do was have a little Cadillac or something, And this was my friend from the Midwest. He remembers that. And I remember, on the block, the popular people, a lot of times the popular older guys or whatever, they could do. And again, it was looked at as normal. Most of the time it doesn't change till you have children or it happens to you, or you see somebody when you got little brothers and sisters, then you're like, oh no, you know what I'm saying? This can't be boom, boom, boom. So again, my question for those people would be, okay, this is how you feel. What happens when you have a child? What happens when it's your little brother and sister? Let me see. That's what you want to happen. Is that would you let whatever your M.A.P best friend or whatever around your children? And then we'll see where your head at, because at the end of the day, anything that's going to throw a child psyche off, anything that's going to make a child rebellious or damage them, you know what I mean? That I don't see how a person could feel like that. But like I said, I've had these conversations and it's happening because clearly it happens. And then, back in the days, they used to do the arranged marriages. I heard in some countries they still do. Back in the days in the United States, I don't have the exact thing, but the marriage age used to be 14.
I think some places it was even 12.
Right. And some places right now it's still like 16, or you could do this and that, with parent, permission. They done switched up the abortion rights and all of this. So, like I said, clearly he has a community, because at the end of the day, you wouldn't be able to just put that out. Like you ain't just gonna put that out on Facebook and just be, walk around. You're not gonna put that on X. Yeah, this is how I feel on X. Woo, woo. And you know what? At the end of the day, let me take that back, because he'll probably have a whole lot of support. Because now with these instruments, you could have a crowd. You ain't got to show your face. You could have a support, but there's no way in the world that I support that. And I don't care if he was female, male, black, white. He could be green, purple, rainbow color. It don't matter to me. You got to go ahead with that. I hope there is a therapy that he could go through peacefully or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, once you feel like that, and ain't you can't come around here.
I wonder what type of upbringing a person like that would have, to have that switch just come on like that. Like, what were you watching?
Well, they was probably abused him. He was probably abused, and probably by somebody close that made it feel like. Because again, a lot of time when you think I ain't gonna front, like it just don't happen, and we not oblivious to this stuff. A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, people like this in our families and all of this, they're all over the place, right? But it appears a lot of times, if he wasn't touched himself, he came up in a situation where that must have been normal to him.
Let me ask a question. Do you get notifications? Are you in the practice of actively seeing who's in your neighborhood or in your areas that are actually offenders? Like, do y'all keep up with that?
Sometimes. I don't pay that no mind, because a lot of times people get caught in lies. You know what I'm saying? You know how that could go, especially for men in some cases, black men, I'm gonna say. But yeah, no, I know for a fact that they're red flagged in every neighborhood. They are red flagged, and they're red flagged at the schools. anybody that has that kind of charge is usually you can look it up. You could look it up once they catch that kind of charge. But we don't, cases. It's a case by case analysis. You can't necessarily judge because you don't know. But a lot of times, what happens when I notice here when it is found out and it was heinous, and those people are gone now for a fact, and it's made sure it's an entire community decision that they got to get out of here.
Sydney sent this in the private chat. I wanted to highlight this because I think this is wild. Child marriage is a significant problem in the United States. New groundbreaking federal legislation, the Child Marriage Prevention Act of 2024, aims to close protection gaps in federal law and send a strong message to U.S. states to end child marriage across the country. The bill, sponsored by Senator Durbin, and co-sponsored by Senators Schatz and Gillibrand, has been introduced to the United States Congress in an effort to change federal law around child marriage. Child marriage is a significant problem in the United States. Between 2000 and 2018. More than 300,000 girls and boys under the age of 18 were married in the United States. Shit. The majority of these were 16 or 17 years of age from 2007 to 2017. More than 8,500 marriage-based visa petitions involving at least one person under 18 years old were approved by U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Most of these cases involve U.S. citizen men seeking to bring girls under the age of 18 years old from overseas as their bride. I just wanted to highlight some of that real quick. To anybody who wants to check that whole thing out, here you go, right here. And on top of that, I will leave a link to this in the description box, just in case y'all want to catch up on a little bit more of this. I knew it existed. I didn't know that it was happening that frequently. How did anybody think that was okay? See, I think that is another factor into why we see a lot of these men and women out here thinking that, okay, it's cool. You're technically able to get married by law. If you can do it by law, then I don't see why it's such a big deal. 300,000. Cindy look like she's seen something she wish she didn't see. Nah, but for real,
I just posted what I read.
Yeah.
I don't.
Now, I mean,
how is this happening in the U.S.?
Now it makes sense. That's why I said earlier, they're forcing you to be accepting of demonic things. I don't know who thought that this was okay.
Perverts.
I stand corrected. Everybody that was on that Epstein, everybody that's on that Epstein file and then some. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, the people who implemented these laws are probably the main culprits. They're the ones who don't see anything wrong with it. They're just kind of shaping and molding this to fit their own agendas. But they're hiding it and making it look like it's something else. Basically, a bunch of rich perverts who are trying to just have things done their way. And they're trying to infect everybody else around them. That's crazy. I don't really look at the registration list of people. One, mostly, it's time for me to start paying more attention to it. Just because of this conversation with this dude here, the way that he was so casual, it's like I got it under control. You don't have to worry about me. You're safe around me, even though I'm standing right next to you and your son, or I'm standing right next to you and your daughter. I'm thinking about this, and I'm okay. I don't have no in-post imbalances. I'm not going to lose it. I can be your friend. I could be your buddy and go on trips with you. You can leave from here with me. Okay. Ain't no way. Are they safe?
I was gonna say, it's interesting that the movement to make child marriage illegal is very new. I didn't really expect that. The first state was Delaware in 2018. And then after that, New Jersey 2018, and then most of the other ones were after 2020. Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Rhode Island, New York, Massachusetts, Vermont. Basically the East Coast. Oregon. Yeah. But it took us this long to even get to that point.
I wonder why. You think enough people just didn't say nothing before?
The internet, maybe. I almost feel like it's that, because the visibility and then also the awareness of the problems. Because I think these last 2 decades have had the most advances in psychology of any time in history. So that might be some of it, like visibility. People are seeing it's a thing. People are seeing the impacts. People can see how it affects children. But also, I think it might have something to do with the changes of development with people too, because as a society, we've kind of shifted the maturity age upwards. Like back in the 50s, people tended to be quite mature by the time they were 18, 19, 20. Like they might be working, they might be more like they might even have started a family by then, or but now we are kind of delaying adulthood as well. Like a lot of people don't even really start their lives until they're in their mid 20s or late 20s. So I wonder if that might be part of it, because now that 25-year-olds seem young, it's like if you're in a relationship with a 15-year-old, to people that think 25 is young, they're gonna be like, 15? No. So it could just be that kind of comparative aspect that it's visible.
I don't even think nothing changed. I think this has been the culture. Again, it was normal. This was nothing. If you needed money, a lot of times people have been selling their children. All these movies about it. back in the days in our community, we would say, "Oh, that family member is a little touched. Let's stay away from them." You know how they are. They wouldn't really say nothing. Now, like you say, you're right, Sydney. It is the internet. You can come out. Excuse me. Even if you're doing it for shock value, you got an audience, and then now too, you can hide behind your post. You don't have. You can post as anonymous. But I think it's that been normal. There's nothing you hear these stories, horror stories, you know what I'm saying? But I guess now with the way the stuff is going with the politics and all that, now you can just say, hey, you know what, that's how I feel. Because again, everything, all of this stuff was happening back in the days, it just wasn't televised. We already knew. And then, you know, back in the days, you was trained to have a tight lip. You ain't tell nobody nothing. You know what I'm saying? Especially family business. So you know for a fact that this has been going on in families, and this is not a color thing. It's not a rich poor thing. It's not an educated uneducated thing. This is a case by case people thing. In every culture, every color, whatever, every language, there's people like that. And he must have felt comfortable coming out. I don't even want to see, because I don't wish nothing on nobody. And I ain't the judge. I want to see what's the response been to that video. Where's this guy now? Where does he work? Where, you know what I'm saying? Where does he live? Do he have kids? Where they go to school at? Would he approve of somebody coming on feeling like they're attracted to children?
That's a good point. Can you? All right, hypothetical. This guy comes to you for a job. You already got the resume. Are you hiring him?
Nope.
It could depend on the job, but if it's with kids and they have that history, it's very likely going to be a no. There's like my husband and I love to watch Chris Hansen, and if I even saw them on the show or something like that, if I even knew that they had an association with that, even if they didn't actually if they were truly a M.A.P, they hadn't offended or anything like that, just knowing that they had that tendency, I would instantly not be interested in knowing them as a person generally. If I was a hiring manager, that would add another layer on top of that. I would not want to know him personally or professionally. So I'd have a really, really hard time accommodating anyone who admitted to me that they were for this. Again, even if they hadn't actually done anything, it's just, if you are going to be taking responsibility for somebody, if somebody is going to be representing you in public, you can't have them have these types of things about them. It's not safe for the community to have that kind of exposure. And it's also, by hiring somebody like that, you're in effect, you support that action, even if you inside your head don't. So I could not see how a professional could willingly hire somebody that openly admitted to something like that, especially if it had anything to do with children at all. Like maybe if you like were working in a factory or like working in a field or something like that, sure, whatever. If you admit that you do that, just please don't be near children. But if you are working with like working in retail, working near a school, like at a pool, I don't know, anywhere that has just average everyday people coming in, I would just no.
So Rob said, "Fuck it, I don't care where it is. You ain't. We don't want you over here."
Bro, you not even thinking, Sydney, what if you working an extra day, extra shift or something, and he's standing right there and your kids have to get dropped off to you? Nah, you know what I'm saying? That ain't even finna fly. I mean, that had to be the biggest joke, and even some things, I don't know, you just can't take back. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I done started believing everybody deserves a second chance. You know what I mean? And he did say he don't act on this and that, but I don't care. Like, you're not gonna put that on camera, man. Like, you really just sat there and was like, yeah, I'm with it. Woo, and there's other people, boom. So that's who you speaking for. You know what? All y'all stand together. Y'all, yeah, all this open farmland, yeah, go get y'all because it's supposed to be America, right? Go get y'all 50 acres, 100 acres, 200 acres. Y'all need your own Walmart. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't the judge, but y'all need your own clinics. Go and get your own banks or whatever, because at the end of the day, this is what two things I know. When you come from situations and you know people, you know people that went through that, or if you went through that yourself, the one thing you're trying to do is prevent that from happening around children, period. And then the second thing and I know, you're over your dead body before it happened to yours. And that's where I gotta draw a hard line with that, because at the end of the day, I know for a fact that rules change when it comes to specific people. People will be like, all right, I'll do this and da 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 da. And I always laugh because you don't never know what you'll do when you put in that situation. But even something as far as like snitching or whatever, I ain't gonna never snitch, da 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 da. And then something happened to you, and what you end up doing, you know what I'm saying? Or the guy get 20, 30 years, and now all of a sudden they done turned into a whole different person, or they offer him that time. So at the end of the day, like this right here, again, you could have kept that. And I'm glad. I'm at the same time glad, because now we know. Like you want to see that face, hey. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy. This is how he feels. Like, that need to be. And I understand there are feelings, because he's just coming. He's the one brave enough to say it. But guess what? I feel the same way about him that I feel about whoever else come out with him with that kind of emotional state, whether they got the behavior or not.
I think one of my only issues is the moral grounds that a lot of these states would probably be under, because I really believe they would defend people like him, like they defend gays and stuff like that. Like they would really, if you said I'm not hiring you because you admitted that you fantasize about children, but you never actually did anything. That's discrimination. They can take you to court and sue you. That's what it looks like it's come to. That's the scary part. Because I wouldn't hire them either. I'm looking out for my brand. Your name is not about to be attached to me in any way, shape, form, or fashion. Sorry.
And also, even if like you don't want to risk having that person say something, like just even an offhand comment or something, like being in the store, like, oh, look at that girl over there, or even saying like, commenting on an attraction to somebody. If you own a business, you don't want your workers nor your customers to be saying that in public, in your space. So it's, if some, I think it's, I don't know, if you are a MAP and you don't ever tell anyone, you don't ever voice it to kids, never say it to adults, you just keep it to yourself, it's just your private thing about yourself that you have and whatever, maybe all right, fine, like, good on you having the strength to not do those things and whatever. But once you start talking about it, you are opening Pandora's box. Like, that is one thing that I've found, even with myself, with random things, not obviously not related to this, but if I spend all my time trying to hide information, like, by obsessing over trying to hide the information, it makes you think of it more. You kind of trigger yourself to obsess even more over the thing that you're trying not to think about. So if they are honestly, like, I really think they need either like medication or some sort of like brain surgery or something. Like, they need to cut that synapse, whatever neuron is telling you that you want to do those things, like, that needs to be taken out or something. But I just don't believe that being open and talking about it is going to make things better. It's just going, like, in my opinion, the more open and comfortable we get talking about people being attracted to children, the closer we get to accepting that actual behavior. And so I've always really struggled with encouraging people to, like, oh, just be honest and just be open and whatever. I'm like, honestly, keep that shit to yourself. Like, don't put that out there in the universe. Don't have that floating around, because the more it's out there, the more it's likely to come back to you and keep revisiting your life. And it's hard because it's one of those, like, obviously if there's a problem, you don't want to sweep it under the rug and completely ignore an issue. Like hiding, like, massacres and stuff like that. Like, it's never good to hide crime from the eyes of the public and be like, oh yeah, it doesn't exist, it's not there. But we definitely cannot have this positive energy about it of like, oh, it's just their preferences, we just have to accommodate communities that are good for them and blah 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 blah. Like, no, you need to be figuring out therapy, you need to be figuring out how to change these people's head spaces, you need to be figuring out what type of medications they need to be put on, you need to be figuring out if they need like brain surgery or something. We cannot see, like, it needs to be seen as a problem, not a trait. So I'll end with that.
No, for real. This is what you said. That's why it's called Narcotics Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. For real, for real. That's exactly why. And, you know, this right now, we in the state where I got caught. Somebody, I was watching the Let's Make a Deal. And they had the girl, she came up and they had a book. And she could choose the book or what's behind the curtain. And she chose, and I was like, yeah, it's a book. Nah, bump that, blah, blah, blah. Choose the curtain. and she got zoinked. I got zoinked. I felt like I got zoinked with her. And I said, they said that about us if you hide it in the book. I said, they caught me. This was like last week. You know what I'm saying? So I just said that to say that we in the state right now to where everything is being, well, matter of fact, they don't even care no more. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. Like they putting it, like even I remember what's the guy, Ines, said that he'll go to jail if Obama got elected. He was gonna get himself sent to jail. Da 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 da. And then now you got this president right here. He's calling people scum and calling them names and calling people. Remember when Obama, he called the police officers stupid that arrested the professor for climbing through his window, and they shut him down. And now this guy right here, he could call people out their name. He's making racist slurs. He's degrading woman. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he got a lane like that. Whoever that guy was that said that's how he feel about children or whatever, he got a lane and clearly a safe space too. And some people probably empathize with him again because that was the culture. That was the culture. You know what I mean? You think back with R. Kelly when he married Aaliyah, we knew like okay something. But at the same time, it was like, okay, yeah, look, that's a star couple. We knew what what's his name, the Playboy guy. He was
Hefner?
Yeah. He was taking in young girls. We knew that they had Brooke Shields posing at the age of 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days, it wasn't really Elvis married the so again, now he just was the one that came out with it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, again, I'm with the sometimes if you don't have good, I learned the hard way, if you don't have nothing good to say, don't say it. But at the same time, good. So we know, you know what I'm saying, who to watch. Because again, like I wonder, I gotta know if he has kids. I really want to know if you got kids, and if it's that normal to you, where you say, if I came to come, me being a black male, if I can't even say it all because they're twisted what I say right here. But if I came and was like, hey, yeah, would you know what I'm saying? Would you want your kids around here?
Do you think known MAPs or actual pedos, should they be allowed to have or raise children?
No.
And to be honest, you know what? They probably wouldn't bother their children. That's the thing. You see what I'm saying? Those rules change. Like I've noticed this. I don't care what genre you talk about, what culture, what ethnicity. Rules change when it applies to certain people. They will change.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I did a reaction video. You can't make this up. I did a reaction video to a man who he sexually assaulted his 9-year-old, 13-year-old daughter. He strangled her to death, left her in an abandoned house, and he's in jail for life now. He was on the run for like a few months. They caught up with him. But yeah, bro, ain't nobody off limits with this perversion.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. I hear you loud and clear.
And it's like it's no holds barred out here. It's gotten that bad. I hate to say it. I wish it wasn't like that, but You got to know who your partners are.
I don't know how far it's gotten or if they're progressing or whatever. But I have heard rumors that there are certain states that are talking about lowering the age of marriage to I think it was either Alabama or Mississippi that was proposing 12. And then they also were trying to change the how the person underage is able to get married, because I think in most circumstances you have to get parental permission. But they're trying to make it so if they've been together a certain period of time or something, then then they automatically fall under a different category and they can get away with different things or something. I know that they're looking at these laws in multiple southern states right now, partially fueled by our current incompetent leader and all of his garbage friends. But they are in the process of revisiting a lot of these laws, and I find that very alarming, especially given this growth of support, quote unquote, for people that are supposedly non-offending.
Hey, check this out. Sydney, I'm taking a page from your book. I hope you don't mind me still. I'm reading from In Their Names, The Untold Story of Victims' Rights, Mass Incarceration, and the Future of Public Safety, written by Lenore Anderson. And I'm going to just read as quick as I can. While there is no comparable evidence of the total dehumanization embedded in the explicit control by law without the protection of law, other groups of people also lack legal claims to safety despite widespread experiences of victimization. Here we go. White women, for example, face limited protections from crimes committed against them by their spouses. White men were permitted to beat their wives, children, and free domestic servants, and their victims found no safe harbor in criminal courts. While unmarried, white women were legally recognized as adult human beings for much of the colonial era in early American history. Once they were married, white women were legally defined as dependents of their husbands under the legal concept of coverture. They were essentially children in the eyes of the law and were unable to seek protection from the justice system in cases of domestic violence or marital rape, which were considered the purview of the private family affairs of white men. One more. Even when domestic violence was officially outlawed and classified as a crime, which didn't occur in all states until 1920, for generations, the criminal justice system was reluctant to intervene in the privacy of a white man's household. The North Carolina Supreme Court, for example, famously held in 1868 in affirming an acquittal of a white man charged with assaulting his wife, that the laws of the state do not recognize the right of the husband to whip his wife, but our courts will not interfere to punish him for moderate correction of her, even if there had been no provocation for it. Family government being in its nature as complete in itself as the state government is in itself. The rights of white children to be safe from violence in the home were similarly limited under this notation of the privacy of family affairs. Child abuse was rarely prosecuted. Both white women and children, however, could have reasonable expectations to legal protection against crimes committed outside the household, and they were able to testify to court. Both could act as witnesses in criminal prosecutions and could testify against the accused. So again, abuse was normal. And you know, it's a little off topic, but when you think about stuff like this, the next page in the book goes on to say how white men would also not be prosecuted for crimes they committed against people of color for those same very reasons. So you if that was sanctioned back then, and you know this stuff was happening, and it's not just white men, it was every people in every culture, rich or poor, then you know even today when a lot of those laws haven't been changed, that's how people could come out with this. And even if he's clickbait, even if he's just going for clickbait, that's still gonna raise eyebrows.
It's a cold, cold world. Cold. My thoughts and prayers go out to these kids, man. They growing up into something that I wouldn't have wished on anybody. But they getting the crappy end of it. Just like, because a lot of parents are not present whatsoever. They're too worried. They're either overwhelmed with the responsibilities and the pressure to perform, or they're just still trying to YOLO, and anything else is kind of just in the rear view mirror.
Bro, think about what you just said, something to perform. Think about Penn State University with the football players. That had been going on for almost 30 years. Think about the gymnastics teams with the doctor. That had been going on for decades. And I hear the conversation in my head to where it's like, you know what I did to get you that spot? Or like you said, well, it happened to me. So it happened to me. You know, that's the. And then don't get me started with the religion stuff. Oh, you got the oh my God, the church, a lot of times, the Boy Scouts. This had been going on for centuries. To where now, again, you know what? Let's make some bread. We're gonna put out this lane right here. We're gonna have a whole nother lane to it. Because again, too, you know, it's not like it hasn't been happening. It's just one more thing to bring to the light. Slightly off topic, but I'm looking at some of these laws. I found this one. Most states have laws that prevent rapists from claiming parental rights, but 7 states do not. Alabama, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, North Dakota, New Mexico, and Wyoming. In some cases, this has resulted in sexual assault victims having to co-parent with their perpetrator, meaning the rapist has visitation rights and stays in contact with the child and mother.
So that means if an adult does something with a child and has a child with that child, they legally have parental rights with co-parenting with that child that they. I'm like, oh my God.
It's real. It gets deeper.
Hold on, man. Where is it? There it is. Nah, man, that's crazy. Yeah, man, these people evil. I'm convinced. These folks are drinking blood, sacrificing animals, and some more stuff.
Some more.
We're gonna have to pray over our country, man, over our kids, over these schools, all that. I'm gonna look for Van Helsing and see if he can make an appearance. You know what I'm saying? we need my man back.
Yeah.
My final thoughts. You can be honest and still be held accountable. just because you come out and admit that you have an issue does not mean that it's not going to be met with equal right, if that's the word for that. I think a lot of people take mental health for granted. I keep bringing that up. I notice a lot of things I bring up a lot. We always come back to mental health, uh, being superficial, et cetera, et cetera. Parents, ladies and gentlemen, there are people out here constantly walking past us on a daily basis that think just like him. There's no real way to discern if a person is a pedophile or whatever. The best thing that you can do is understand them as much as possible. Educate yourself, educate your household, your community, because we don't really have much of that anymore either. And try to minimize collateral damage. The awareness that was brought to my attention tonight, I'm grateful for, Sydney. You be on point with these links and the info. You had my man Rob pull out his. That was dope. I ain't mad at that. You know what I'm saying? We need that, especially for the viewers and people that's watching. We too casual and too comfortable. This world ain't kind, and it's not as polite as you think it is. So, if anybody got anything they want to say before we go, I'm gonna turn the mic over.
First of all, I just thought it was kind of funny. The poster in the back almost looked like they were engaging in our conversation and Rob's the background. Anyway, yeah, it looked like they were joining us. Like, wait, what did they say? But in regards to the topic, for anybody that considers themselves a M.A.P, I'll give you the respect that you deserve for owning up to that type of interest. But I have to say, still as a person, I can't support it. I can't see how other people could support it. If a child is underage, they should not be with an adult. That is like very, very few exceptions, like 16 and an 18-year-old, sure. 19-year-old and a 17-year-old, sure, whatever. But once you have somebody past their 20s, they should not be with people that are underage at all. And part of me still finds it very hard to fathom that there are actually groups of people that want to be more accepting of individuals making these lifestyle choices, which one, I think is kind of alarming, an alarming indicator of what we're kind of going through as a society. We're definitely starting to rapidly blur the lines between crimes and habits or preferences. And I don't think that's the right direction to go. I really think that we need to stop blurring the lines and start strengthening the lines. Really, really setting the limitations by law of like how many years you like should be between the people and whatnot. Like, they really need to have specifics in the law. Like, at this age you cannot get married, at this age you cannot marry somebody who is above 18. I really think that we need to have more specificity, because that's part of the problem. But again, I also think that this movement to accept them as a sexual preference is not the right direction to go. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay, shout out the ones getting counseling that don't engage in that behavior. That tells me that we need to do a better job of watching our surroundings, getting to know the people around us, getting to know the people that's teaching our kids, the babysitters, everybody, vetting your significant others out to make sure they don't struggle with these issues, and supervising our children's social media, everything they watch, everything they're reading, in order to make sure that these things are not being pushed on them, and to make sure that they're not in places where they're vulnerable. I'm not going to act like it don't happen. I'm not going to act like this ain't been a thing. But the scary thing now is that they could come to light. You know what I'm saying? So we have to do a decent job of making sure that our children are safe. And that doesn't matter to your skin color. It doesn't matter what language you speak. It don't matter if you got money. It don't matter. If you love children and you want to see them to grow up and become healthy, centered, productive people, then we got to band together to make sure that all our children are safe. I'll leave it at that.
Respect. Well, man, I appreciate y'all tapping in. I know this was especially personal one, but you know, these type of conversations got to be discussed, and I appreciate y'all for coming up. Shout out to everybody in the building. Thank y'all for tapping in. Tomorrow, Donald Trump, you trying to get rid of the homeless people, man? You trying to kick the homeless people out of DC, bro? We're gonna talk about it.
Meanwhile, we have our very own pedo in the White House.
The irony. Tap in with us tomorrow, man. Same time, same place. Y'all enjoy the rest of your evening.
Sydney, get some rest, Sydney.
I will.
Exactly.
Fruit, eat your greens, eat your spinach and your kale, even though it's nasty.
Oh, and
just a quick joke. Somebody put like one of those pedo pins, like, oh, who's in your neighborhood, on the White House. So there's a picture where it shows the little thumb mark, or the
right.
Hey, man, I'm always up for a good laugh. You should see some of my memes. But yeah, we about to get up out of here. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Make sure y'all go tap in and follow them on all their platforms. Do me a solid.
You heard it.
Appreciate it. See y'all, man.